We have a very special guest here, New York Republican gubernatorial candidate, Bruce Blakeman. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Zohran Mamdani meeting with J.P. Morgan's Jamie Dimon and Goldman Sachs' David Solomon, among other finance chiefs, yesterday. As Charlie Gasparino broke the news last hour, Wall Street is pushing back on that meeting. The mayor is trying to manage the backlash from his push to tax the rich as the finance industry and its tax revenue shifts away from New York. But as Mamdani tries to mend ties with big business, small business, they are fighting his plan for city-run grocery stores. Mamdani announcing the first will open in the Bronx next year, saying it's a win for big government.
I cannot help but think of the words of our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. He famously said, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are I'm from the government and I'm here to help." It's a good quote, but I disagree. I think 9 more terrifying words are actually, I worked all day and can't feed my family. We are going to use the power of government to lower prices and make it easier for New Yorkers to put food on the table.
I'm going to reserve comment because that is just a heaping pile of balderdash, and that is the nicest word I can come up with. But, Bruce, what do you make of that?
Well, first of all, I knew Ronald Reagan. I worked for Ronald Reagan. Zohran Mamdani is not Ronald Reagan. Him meeting with all the bankers, that's like A$AP Rocky going to a country music festival. You're putting a communist in with the leaders of capitalism. Look, Zohran Mamdani has it completely backwards. High net worth individuals create jobs, they create prosperity, they create economic development. It's not only for the rich people, it's that they help the carpenters, the electrician, the plumbers, the waiter, the waitress, the dry cleaner, the dog walker. When they leave, they take all those jobs with them. They takes the tax revenue out, so it'll fall on the middle class. Taxing the rich is a really bad idea. I'm going to see Ron DeSantis later today, and he's probably going to endorse Kathy Hochul because he knows if I win, they'll stop coming to Florida from New York. So,
can we talk about that?
Sure.
Because one of my worries is his message is winning because there's that young voter base who's left. The other voter base that we're talking about that would vote for you went to Florida. So the votes here that are left have disappeared. How do you then get those votes that are still here when it feels like all the votes that are left are blue voters?
Well, you know, the blue voters are very disenchanted with Hochul and Mamdani. They haven't produced anything. We're number 41 out of 50 states in economic development. The once proud, great New York State, the Empire State, is at the bottom of economic development. When I talk to young people, we talk about job creation, better jobs, higher paying jobs, better benefits, putting more money in their pocket. And when you engage young people and talk to them about our issues and how we're going to solve their problems versus a free bus pass that they didn't even get, in fact, they got a fair increase from Zohran Mamdani, they are disenchanted. People are miserable in New York State. Common sense Democrats are coming our way. So I think that we are going to have a very, very successful election here in New York State.
You get those votes. You get those common sense Democrats coming over to your side. My question is, how do you handle the unruly Mamdani? It's like a teenager that you're inheriting that now you have to show, like, yes, his messaging resonates, but we know his economic policies don't. How would you approach that?
Well, just like any parent would, treat a child, incremental discipline. I have power over the budget when I become governor. I will make sure that he behaves himself or he won't get the things that he needs. And in addition, there are things I can do. If he's not keeping the community safe, if there's lawlessness in New York City, as governor, I will not let that happen. I will bring in the state police. I'll bring in the National Guard. I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll take over the NYPD. So the fact of the matter is it's up to Zohran Mamdani whether he wants to get along with Governor Blakeman, not the other way around.
I love that. It's been a while since we've had a Republican governor here. It is possible, certainly in New York, for people to feel the frustration and then to turn the tide and go the other way. But when I look at Kathy Hochul, I get so frustrated by how she's running her campaign because she goes out there. She is in bed with Zohran Mamdani. She endorsed him. Yet then she'll sit in a chair and say, I need the millionaires to come back here because I need the revenue. It's like she's trying to talk out of both sides of her mouth and pander to both sides. And I worry about that technique for people who aren't necessarily read up on all the details that might buy into that. She needs to be exposed.
New Yorkers are smart. They're sophisticated. They're getting it. Every place I go in New York State, whether it's New York City, Upstate, the Hudson Valley, Long Island, it's the same story. People are miserable under Kathy Hochul. We are the highest tax state in America. We're at the bottom of economic development. Our electric bills are 70% higher than the national average. I will cut your electric bills in half. So they're starting to understand that. I'm going to say she's full of it, and I'm not going to use that other word, but they know that, you know, it's just a lot of BS coming out of her mouth. And she blamed Trump for everything. I think she blamed him for a hurricane in Nicaragua. She blamed on Trump.
They blame the strike on Trump, too.
Oh, yeah, that was
the LIR
that was
strike.
hysterical. He had nothing to do with it.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, well, it's funny.
Yeah, well, I also, when you look at New York, and we've been here for a while, Mamdani is the new kid on the block, but these policies have been in place for quite some time. You look, he met yesterday with JP Morgan Chase, but they already have more workers in Texas than they do in New York. This is supposed to be the financial capital of the world, and JP Morgan, our biggest bank, has more workers in Texas than they do now in New York. Meanwhile, we don't even know what happened at Goldman Sachs. I've been covering this story. We got statements from Mamdani on his meeting with Jamie Dimon from Dimon, but we haven't heard anything about how the Goldman Sachs meeting went at Gracie Mansion. But we've been down this road where New York is bleeding talent. We're losing it because of the high cost of energy, because of how inhospitable this city is to workers. Can you really make a change in that? Can we see a city come back to life?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I did it in my county. There's 110,000 more Democrats in my county, and I won re-election in a bad midterm election for Republicans in a landslide. I won by over 36,000 votes because I know how to appeal to people, and that's by keeping their communities safe. People want public order in their communities. They want to feel secure. And also creating economic development, lowering taxes, lowering their expenses. That makes it more affordable. When we bring that message to people, they embrace it. So we have a very positive campaign. And Kathy Hochul, she's just been a disaster for this state. Zohran Mamdani is the icing on the cake. We've got to keep him in check and keep him under control, and I'm the right guy to do that.
$4 billion bailout by Hochul from the federal.
$5.5 billion. You forgot the $1.5 billion last month.
Thank you. Thank you. And you brought up the Long Island Railroad strike. Well, the LIRR back up and running after that 3-day strike. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced that on X that the MTA reached a deal with unions that gives raises to workers. And the Wall Street Journal editorial board before the resolution of this strike noted that more than 300 workers made more than $100,000 each in overtime, and they wanted a 14% raise. They called it blackmail.
So let me say this about the union leaders. They have members. They have to depend on them to get elected. And how does a union leader go to the members and say that New York State doesn't have any more money for you when Kathy Hochul's given $8 billion to illegal migrants over the last 3 years? People who aren't New Yorkers, people who aren't even Americans, they arrive here because we're like a magnet to steal, because we give them free transportation, free food, free housing, and a free cell phone. And they get better benefits than New Yorkers. So these union leaders went to their members, and the members said, wait a second, she's giving billions of dollars away. She just gave $5.5 billion to Zohran Mamdani to bail him out, and you don't have more money for the workers? That's why the union leaders had to do what they did, because they couldn't sell that to their workers, and I completely agree with them on that.
The left says if you cut taxes, you will lose revenue. The right, generally, conservatives, don't think that. What sort of economic incentives, lower tax rates, can you do to bring businesses back? And then what is that interim period where maybe you lose a little revenue at the beginning, but then long term it really sets New York up for more financial stability?
So when I got into office, my county is larger than 8 states in population. I cut $150 million in a proposed tax cut by my predecessor. I haven't raised taxes 1 penny in 4 years, even though I've hired 600 new law enforcement professionals. I've gotten 7 bond upgrades, 4 budget surpluses, And our GDP went from $81 billion when I came into office to $126 billion. So by lowering taxes, by inviting businesses in and not chasing businesses out, you create economic activity. Economic activity creates more revenue. That creates more prosperity. And that's how you can lower taxes and still provide quality services to people.
I'm going to have a friend that says results matter, and those are the results, right? It's not just promises, broken ones. I want to go back to a statement you made earlier about lowering electricity costs by 50%. How do you plan to do that in this age when everyone's so concerned, not just in New York State and New Jersey, but nationally because of AI data centers?
Well, that's a great question. So in New York State, if you look at your utility bill, only 30% of your payment goes for energy. The rest goes for taxes. Kathy Hochul taxes your utility bill, excessive delivery costs, and the green energy scam, where she basically invests billions of dollars in science projects that produce very little energy. And we're sitting on one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world here in New York State. Do you know that we are buying natural gas from Pennsylvania when we have one of the biggest reserves in the world? It's crazy. People in Pennsylvania, right over the border, are driving brand new Cadillac Escalades, and in New York, they're driving 30-year-old rusted-out pickup trucks. So I'm going to open up, as President Trump recommended to me, drill, baby, drill. That's exactly what I'll do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about, too, because electricity costs are just massive. And when you're sitting on these resources, it's crazy. It's like California bringing oil in when they have the capacity, but they don't want to tap into it. But overall, we need to bring costs down, just like for regular people, too, not just for poor people in New York City and across the board, across the state. So how quickly do you think you can implement some of these policies to help people immediately?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to wait till I get sworn in. The day after the election, we're going to get to work. We're going to roll up our sleeves. I'm going to talk to a lot of smart people. We're going to create economic development, because when people have more money in their pockets, it's more affordable because they're making choices on how their money is to be spent rather than the government. I've done it in my county, and I'll do it in the state.
And then real quick, I think we're on day 49 or 50 of delay for the state budget. In Albany, it's the latest it's been in 16 years. It just feels like there's inefficiency in government. It's supposed to work for us. How are you going to get Albany to work together so that we can have things like a budget, which then details how the rest of the state works?
Yeah, so Kathy Hochul, she's a Democrat. The leader of the Senate is a Democrat. The Speaker of the Assembly is a Democrat, and they can't get their act together. As governor, I'll sit down with them, negotiate early, be smart about it, tell them this is what I need, tell me what you need. We'll work it out. As my parents said, half a loaf is better than none. I know I'm going to have to negotiate with them. I will negotiate. I'm a hard bargainer, but I always make the deal.
One final question.
Your turn.
You have to run for the governorship. I know that the population center is here, but you have to turn and look northward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been getting all around the state, and I've been with farmers. I've been with people upstate that are in the lumber business. It's a very vast state. It's a very diverse state. And I'm very familiar with the state because when I was in the private sector, I did a lot of business deals upstate. So I know upstate pretty well. I have good relationships up there, and we're going to do very well upstate.
Swamp Yankees. I say that with affection. They're just like my folks, rednecks. So it's the same culture and the same grit.
Hey, I went to Arizona State University. I got a cowboy hat. I got cowboy boots. I get it.
Yeah. I do mean that as the greatest of compliments. And before we go, Bruce Blakeman, great to see you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome back anytime. As is Kathy Hochul. We have extended an invitation to the governor of New York to come on this very program. Invitation's out. We're waiting. Catch the